Welcome to Trade of the Day, brought to you by Day Trade the World. As always, get your day trading journey started out the right way. Of course, it's going to be Tesla today. And this is the thing I love about this trade is a lot of opportunities at the open. You could have picked your poison, but I was Morgan Stanley, JPM, as we talked about, some of the banks. They were big. Meta was great. Apple was great. So many things out there. But Tesla wasn't even... It was probably one of the better shorts out. I did not have this short on Tesla. It was the 225 level, had other fish to fry. But when you get to key prices, you want to have a plan of action in play. And so I start with a 15-minute because when we had that CPI move, your CPI high, that 1920, we plunged to the downside. You bounced around this 07, 08, really putting in a better volume floor at about 208 there. And the first move back up, you had wick highs above 211 and then holding that support and then a breakout from that level. So that's the bottom channel that I had my eyeballs on once you've already worked to the downside. And everything else that had worked to the short, you're at lunchtime and thinking, okay, well, what can I do with this now that you've already made this move? Well, the first answer is wait until it actually gets to the level you're looking for. So you'll see it bounces right off of 211 here. I'm doing nothing till I see it bounce. It's at that channel. Like, okay, if it makes a double bottom, I'll take a shot at some longs here if it wants to make that bounce play and recover into 213. I'm thinking risk to reward on the 11s is right in front of 11, like 20, 30 cents above, risk 40, 50 pennies, and then you're trying to scalp $1, $2, and $3 to the upside. That stops out, and then we get right to 210. So when you look at the bottom of this channel over here, I think you've got a little bit of leeway. There were some higher highs on the way up that got you to that 210. And 210, of course, being a round number options eligible, was going to be significant. So I did take a shot. You'll see a quick little long here in a 3-minute where I was able to scalp about 70, 80 cents with the same premise off 210. But once 210 was broken, it's a short. We're through that price, and I'm shorting multiple times here off of 210. And this is what was so interesting about this battle down at that level. It's hard to see because of how the chart is skewed, but you were sitting at these bottoms as the futures were testing low, as volatility was testing higher. You had key stocks like Apple resting on their bottoms, and of course Tesla here as well. The battle that was being waged at this 209 to 210 area was simply epic. So as I saw this was happening, I switched into a bit of a scalp mode. I wanted to be short, and I had to hold it, but if we're going to hang out in this range and it's going to take some time, and look, it legitimately took about a half an hour before it went. It was rinse and repeat, and at first I was shorting 0980, 0990 in front of that 210. But once this wick happened right here, it snapped back, tested that 210 level, and actually ran a bunch of stops above the 210 level. I said, you know what? It probably needs to run stops at least one more time before it goes. 210 is an obvious stop area. I'm going to only get in the last time just north of 210. It's going to have to run those stops and get past 210 half to get me out of the trade. I shorted 210.12 just above that price. We got one last little scalp in, and once it broke the range, here's the thing. That's the bottom at 208. If you're going to spend this much time in that range and make that breakdown and you're holding a short the entire way, once the range is broken, the out's got to be out in front of that 208. Because you don't sit in that trade the entire time to get out $1 in front of it. You hold it till that move. At that point, I'm risking that 50 pennies to make that $2. End of story. That's the trade we made. It gave you another opportunity here at that 210. But once you've gone down that far, you've got to structure a trade, understanding that you're not going to get the $15 moves. All those big plays happened on Meta, and there were big ones on JPM and Coinbase and Square. Those were gone. You have to structure a trade off those bottoms, which requires a little bit more patience and a plan of action. That's your trade of the day. As always, brought to you by Day Trade the World. Scan that QR code below. Start your day trading journey today.